Hey everyone! So if you're learning Arabic, you've definitely come across two terms that seem almost identical, zarf and Ism al-Zarf. They both have to do with time and place, right? But one of them is hiding a secret, an extra layer of meaning that totally changes the game. And today, we're gonna crack that code.
So what is the difference, really? And maybe more importantly, why should you even care? Well, getting this right is actually a huge step towards a much deeper, more precise understanding of Arabic, especially when you're reading really important texts like the Quran. So let's jump right in.
Okay, here's our plan for this explainer. First, we're going to meet the great imposter to get a handle on the basic term, zarf. Then, we'll dive into the star of the show, the action-packed noun, Ism al-Zarf. We'll break down the patterns used to build it, check out some more advanced forms, and then we'll see it all come to life with some amazing examples from the Quran.
All right, first things first, let's talk about the term you probably already know. Think of a simple zarf as the straightforward, easy-to-understand character in this story. The Ism al-Zarf, well, that's its more complex and, frankly, way more interesting look-alike. So, a zarf is just your basic adverb of time or place. You know these words. Foka, above, tahta, below, qabla, before, ba'da, after. The key thing here is that a zarf is what it is. It's not derived from a verb, you can't break it down into root letters and a pattern, and most importantly, there's no action implied. It's just a static marker for a location or a time.
Okay, now for the main event. Let's finally pull the mask off the Ism al-Zarf and see what makes it so special and, honestly, so powerful. And boom, this slide lays it all out. Look at the left. A zarf is just a simple pin on a map. But on the right, the Ism al-Zarf is an ism mushtaq, a derived noun. This means it takes the root letters of a verb, puts them into a special pattern, and creates a word that has not just the place or time, but also the action itself, all packed into one. This is a total game changer.
So, here's the formula you gotta remember. An Ism al-Zarf always gives you a location or a time, plus the action associated with it. It's not just a place, it's a place of doing something. Seriously, understanding this one concept will level up your Arabic grammar skills like you wouldn't believe.
So if these are derived nouns, how do we actually make them? Well, for the simple three-letter verbs, there are basically three main blueprints, or patterns, that we use to construct them.
And here they are, your three foundational patterns. The best way to think of these is like molds. You take the three root letters of a verb, you pour them into one of these molds, and what comes out is a brand new action-packed noun of time or place.
Let's make this real. Take the root letters sin, jim, dal, which carry the meaning of to prostrate. Now, let's pour them into that second pattern, Maf'alun. What do you get? Masjidun. See? A masjid isn't just some random building. Its very name literally means a place of prostration. The action is baked right into the DNA of the word.
And here's a quick cheat sheet. Maf'alun is often for a general place of an action, like maktab, a place of writing, an office. Maf'alun can feel a bit more specific, like our example, Masjid. And maf'alatun, with that extra ta marbuta at the end, often implies a place where an action happens a lot, like a madrasa, a place of constant studying and learning.
Okay, you've totally got the basics down, so let's level up. How do we make these words plural? And what happens when we're dealing with verbs that have more than just three root letters?
You know, this part is actually beautifully simple. It doesn't matter if your singular is maf'al, maf'il, or maf'ila. The plural is almost always on this one single pattern, mafa'il. So masjid becomes masajid, and madrasa becomes madaris. Just a quick side note, this plural pattern is a diptote, which means it has some special grammar rules about its endings.
And here's where things get really interesting and maybe a little tricky. When you're making an Ism al-Zarf from a more complex verb, it ends up looking exactly the same as the passive participle, the Ism al-Maf'ul. That means the exact same word can have two completely different meanings.
This example says it all. The word mumtahan could be talking about the student, the one who is being examined. Or it could be talking about the building, the place of examination, the exam hall. So how on earth do you know which one it is? You just have to look at the sentence. Context is absolutely king. Now let's see this whole concept in action where it matters most. When you can spot an Ism al-Zarf in the Quran, it just adds these incredible rich layers of meaning to the text. It's not just about what is happening, but where that action is happening, all in one word.
So here in Surah Yasin, you have the word marqadina. It comes from the root qad, that means to sleep or to rest, and it's on that maf'ilun pattern. So it doesn't just mean our brave, it means specifically our place of sleeping. It connects the location directly to the state of being they were in. The action is right there in the noun. It's beautiful.
And in this famous verse from Surah Al-Kahf, Prophet Musa talks about reaching the majma'a of the two seas. This comes from the root for to gather or bring together, and it's on the maf'alun pattern. So it's not just a point where two seas meet, it is the place of their coming together. It's a dynamic location defined by its inherent action. And here's a fantastic example from a derived verb. The word is muktasalan, meaning a place of washing. That mu prefix at the beginning is a dead giveaway that it's not from a simple three-letter verb. And this connects perfectly back to what we just learned. The context of the verse makes it crystal clear this is a place of washing, not a person being washed.
So, what are the big things to take away from all this? Number one, it is all about the action. An Ism al-Zarf is a noun that is packed with the meaning of an action. A zarf is not. Number two, get comfortable with those three foundational patterns. They're the keys to the kingdom for recognizing and building these words. And finally, number three, when you see those more advanced forms, don't panic. Just remember that context is your best friend.
So the next time you're reading Arabic, keep your eyes open. You're not just looking for words that mean place or time anymore. Now you can look for these incredible nouns that are literally alive with action, a place of prostration, a time of rising, a place of gathering. What new layers of meaning are you going to discover? Thanks for joining me.